Hi, I'm Bill Corcoran Jr. This is the On the Stacks podcast.
Oh yeah, whoa, look, they can never keep me down, I'm going, and if I ever fail, just know I'll go again. I never quit, cause I know that every loss may lead to another win. I'm going up.
Showing people the power of that kind of consistency and persistence, and I already used this term, but it's my dad's term, stick-to-itiveness, is a real key to being successful in just about anything that you do.
Today, I'm chatting with Dr. Dan Myers, president of Misericordia University. This episode is brought to you by Burn, the fitness company behind the Today Show approved Burn board. If I'm being honest, working out can be a real chore, especially as a new dad in desperate need of sleep and cardio. Burn is founded by NEPA native Jimmy T. Martin, and his Burn board offers a low-impact core and cardio experience unlike anything I've done before. They have hundreds of on-demand workouts that are great for beginners, seasoned athletes, and out-of-shape podcast hosts who love supporting small businesses. My wife and I use it pretty frequently throughout the week, and it's honestly a great way to burn a ton of calories without burning a ton of cash. Not to mention, it's a great tool for skiers, runners, wrestlers, and hockey players. Jimmy is offering all On the Stacks listeners 15% off when they use the code STACKS15. Visit theburn.com today to get 15% off your purchase with code STACKS15 at checkout. Again, that's theburn, THEBRRN.com to get 15% off your purchase with code STACKS15. It's time to get on board today with Burn. This episode is brought to you by Blue Door Financial. Blue Door Financial will help you save money and reduce taxes to live a fuller financial life. To learn more, visit Blue Door Financial online at BLUdoorfinancial.com. That's BLUdoorfinancial.com. What's up, podcast episode 105 of the On the Stacks podcast here in the Blue Door studio. Welcome to the show, Dr. Dan Myers.
Great to be here on the Stacks.
I like it. Yeah. TikTok star.
Oh,
15th president of Misericordia University, published author, musician in a band. I don't even know where to start.
yeah, it's tough to know where to start. Maybe we go back to the beginning when I was born.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Where were you born?
I was born in Xenia, Ohio, but I don't remember anything about that because my parents moved away when I was still an infant. So,
Okay.
And that started as progression of moving all the time, my entire growing up. By the time I was 30, I lived in 30 places.
Wow.
Yeah, average of one per year. So yeah, it's we had a sort of nomadic wandering as childhood, and you know we lived everywhere from Oregon, New York, and lots of places in between. And so, yeah, you know, it trains you to be able to acclimate to new environments, which is a good thing. But you know, there's tough parts to that too, leaving
Yeah.
your friends behind and things like that. You know,
yeah.
So, but yeah, it's part of my life.
Cool.
So.
Well, before I agreed to having you on, I had no idea that you went to Ohio State. So I'm gonna blame Jim Roberts for this one.
You wouldn't have had me on if you would have known. Oh no,
yeah,
okay.
no, I'm only kidding. But no, on a serious note, you know, I just want to thank Jim Roberts for you know helping put this thing together, and my friend Catherine Polital, who was also on the show here, episode 95.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so no, on a serious note, I just want to give them a little shout out for helping put this together and getting you on the Stacks.
Yeah, both great people and really important in our life at Misericordia. You know, Jim's my chief of staff and he runs our marketing operation. And Catherine's program, the Women with Children, was just tremendous. And people heard about it on your other episode. But, you know, she's always got new ideas and just breaking new ground with everything she does. And it's just wonderful to work with both of them.
Yeah.
I just think they're just unbelievable assets to the university.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah. All right. So kind of let's go back to, you know, like you said, you moved around a lot when you were younger. You went to Ohio State, unfortunately.
Well, that was an accident, you know.
Was it? Well,
yeah,
sounds like it. Yeah.
Just it was just because we happened to live in Ohio when I graduated from high school, and in fact, my parents even left. I had to stay with some friends to finish off my senior year. They moved to West Virginia.
So it really was like kind of just an accident, like by default.
Down the road.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so that's where I went. And yeah, and I loved it. You know, it was a great place to be. And I did a master's degree there too. And I worked there for a while. And in fact, I was a dorm director, and they have a dorm there that's built into the stadium. So I actually ran that dorm 350 students, and then I had an apartment on the end. I actually lived in Ohio Stadium for 2 years. So,
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What was that like? Especially like on football weekends.
Wild. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
I bet.
mean, it's a crazy place for football weekends, and so
Wow.
it was a lot of fun though, and I loved it. And everybody has that thump for their alma mater.
Yeah,
So,
of course. Yeah. I told Catherine I was gonna have to bust you on that, and then a little bit. I know you spent quite a bit of time at Notre Dame.
Yes.
I told her I was gonna have to. She told me. Well, she actually told me to make sure that I busted you.
Oh, okay.
Busted you on that. And by the way, we forgot to put them back on the table, but you did. You threw my Penn State coasters in the trash over there. So
Well, we're here to talk about Misericordia University today,
right,
not
yeah.
Penn State.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but I have many good friends at Penn State. Some of my best friends are at Penn State. So, I have a lot of respect for that institution, actually. But Notre Dame. I was there for 17 and a half years, and so the football stuff. I remember a few both painful and celebratory moments about games at Penn State. So
yeah. I think we'll call it even,
Yeah.
But speaking of like the social media and the TikTok, you're like a TikTok star, like for real.
Well, I'm trying to be.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be.
Yeah, and I'm really impressed with your presence on social media, with TikToks especially. What made you? Because I think that a lot of people wouldn't expect, somebody that's a president of a university to be as involved, like legitimately, like you're probably like the only, university president that's like actually doing it.
I think I'm the only one that's got a regular presence. I mean, some of them will make an appearance on their university's TikTok.
Yeah, but that's lame.
And they're not that funny.
Yeah.
So
how did that start for you?
Well, it started, actually, it's a sad story. So, but I was thinking about different social media, and it's always changing, and then it's Facebook, then it's Twitter, then it's Snapchat, then it's Instagram, and you got to keep up. And, I knew TikTok was the emergent thing, especially for kids in high school who I want to reach in terms of getting them interested maybe in coming to Misericordia. And so I was thinking about it, and then I was up visiting my friends, and it's a very sad story. One of my friend's daughters, her friend, was killed in a car accident, and 15-year-old kid, and we were reading the obituary, and it said at the end, it's a typical obituary, but then at the end it said, in lieu of flowers, get together with your friends and make a TikTok commemorating your relationship with this girl.
Wow.
And I just thought, this is real. This is real. They experience this life on TikTok in a way that we don't, because we didn't grow up with that. But it's absolutely real to them, and that that's an appropriate thing to do. That fits that moment. And I just turned to my friend. We got to get on TikTok. That's where these people are living, And so we started it up, and not having the slightest idea what we're doing, and we just tried a bunch of stuff, and it's gone pretty well, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to high school students, and I can see in my follower group that I'm getting more from that age group, and they're starting to pass it around, and so but it's just a hoot and a half. It's just absolutely fun.
Yeah,
you're always thinking up the next crazy thing to do on TikTok.
Yeah, because I've seen you've climbed bookshelves. Like I saw that giant arcade that you just got installed there.
Right.
So where do you come up with these things? Like I know some of it probably you might have some pre-creative planning, but like a lot of these just kind of done on a whim.
Yeah, some of them are just you are trying to post every other day-ish, something like that. And to keep up at that pace, you can't plan them all out and have a big photo shoot or video shoot. It just doesn't, you can't do that. So some of them are like that. We put more work into them, but other ones are just kind of, hey, that would be funny. Hold up your phone and off you go. And and in fact, the bookcase one, which was the first one that kind of, got a fair number of views, that was a total whim. I just I looked at the book. I said, "Boy, that thing's tall."
Yeah, and it is very tall.
Yeah,
right?
it's ridiculously tall.
Like how tall was it? You climbed that thing.
Yeah, no, you can't possibly. I had to bring a ladder in to put those books on the top shelves. And so I thought, so I just set the phone on the table, and I went over there and I pulled the chair over. I thought, well, I'll climb up on that. And I was like, oh, I'll just keep climbing, And
Sure enough.
And that was it. And, and that one kind of hit because
Yeah.
I think it was funny and people hadn't seen anybody doing such a thing and didn't think that a university president would
Right.
engage in such ridiculous behavior.
Yeah,
So,
such crazy activities.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God.
Right.
Well, I love it. I love your sense of humor. I love your engagement, with the students and upcoming students. I think it's genius that you're doing that because, like, as you said, like nobody is doing it, especially in your position.
And they should. I encourage people to do it because, students really do connect with it. Every single person I stop on campus, so are you following me on TikTok? And they are.
Yeah.
We had an admitted students day on Friday, and I don't know, 120 some families in, and every single family I talked to, the parents and the kids both, they liked different things. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
But they knew about my TikTok or they'd seen my TikTok. And I said, wow, this really does work. It does get us out there and connect us with people in ways that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's kind of take it back a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your career and kind of how you got to where you're at today.
Well, like most people who end up doing administrative stuffs at colleges and universities, it's kind of an accidental trip. So I was at Notre Dame. I got my PhD at Wisconsin, and then I went to Notre Dame for my first faculty job, and I got tenure and everything there. But then, you're sitting there, and somebody has to be the chair of the department, and there came a time when it was time to turn it over, and the dean just said, "How about it?" And I thought, no way, this is not what I came here to do. I want to teach. I want to do my research. I don't want to sit around processing people's reimbursement requests and things, whatever it is you might do as chair of a department, do the class schedule or something. But there wasn't really one to do it. So I said, all right, I'll do it. And it went well, and I actually found that there was value in doing that kind of work, and I liked it. People seemed to like the work I did. And so then they ask you to do the next thing. And so then I became the director of faculty development and research, and then I became an associate dean, and then I became a vice president. And none of those were things that I sought. Every single
so
one
it wasn't really planned.
No, every single one of those was somebody asked me to do the next thing. And I said, okay. Until then when I was vice president, I was right underneath the provost, which is the chief academic officer. And, and he was going to be there for a while. And I thought, I'd like to try his job, but I can't do it here. And so that's the first time I started looking. And then I went to Marquette to be the provost there.
Okay.
So, and then I did that same job at American, and then it was time to be a president. And so I started looking around, and, I ended up here. And that's another story we can get into if you care to. But.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I want to know how you found your way to NEPA.
Yeah, well, again, there's always these chance elements in these things that you do. So during my time at Marquette and American, I got really interested in why students get through to graduation. Some do and some don't. A lot don't, actually. And I was worrying about that and trying to understand it both for our specific schools, what was going on at Marquette, what was going on at American, but systemically across the U.S., it's a big problem, And so I started doing research on it, and I wrote a book about it.
So this is where the author thing comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about it.
So, I wrote a lot as a faculty member, but that was a different world entirely. I'm a scholar of riots and protests and things like that. So I've done a lot of writing in that world. But this came up as a sort of practical part of my environment, and I really got interested in it. So I started working on this book to try to understand what really was going on that caused these students to stay or to drop out. And in the book, I devised a new way of sort of rating schools on their performance with persistence, with students getting through. And, one of the things it's just a truism is that if you have a lot of advantages in life, if you're wealthy and if you've had access to really good education all the way up until when you go to college, you're going to get through college. You're going to make it. You're going to graduate. But if you don't have all those advantages, that's where you start having problems. And the power of that privilege element is very, very strong, and it controls so much of what happens to students when they go to school. But there's some universities that somehow have figured out how to beat that, and they do better than they ought to based on the students that are coming in the door.
Based on their projection.
Yeah. And so what I did was I used some different pieces of data to predict what each university's graduation rate ought to be. And then I saw whether their actual one was above or below that. And so some of them were really beating the odds, and other ones weren't even living up to the kind of potential that their students had. And so I ranked every university in the country on this. And what university was number 2, had the second best record in the entire country? This place called Misericordia University.
Oh my God.
And in fact, and the one school that beat it was a state school. So it's the number 1 private school in terms of this factor of getting students to graduation. And I thought, what is going on at that place? And so I interviewed people at my top 10 schools. And the people at Misericordia, they were the most thoughtful. They were the most dedicated. They spent more time with me, helping me understand what they were doing, because I wanted to have a chapter in the book about how do you do this? How do you make this work? Well, let's go to the places that are doing the best and find out. And I thought, I got off the call, and I literally turned to Chris and my spouse, and I said, these are the kind of people I want to work with. And then the presidency came open.
Yeah, yeah. So I was gonna say, so at that time when you were doing this research and this writing, were you looking for the president role?
I was starting to think about it. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, it was right around that time. I don't know the exact sequence of it, but yeah, then I saw the ad for Misericordia, and I thought, something is calling me to do this, And then I was driving up 81 to go visit my parents in Syracuse from D.C. I was driving up to Syracuse, and I'm driving up 81, and there's a sign that says, "Exit here for Misericordia University." And I thought, what is going on?
Total sign. Literally,
right.
A sign.
Yes, it was literally a sign
yes.
to go to Misericordia.
Yeah.
And so, and the interview process was just a dream. And it's just, the values of the place and the work that they do with students, it's really something special. And so, it's been a match made in heaven so far. So I'm very excited to be a part of that. But I mean, it's a strange story, I think, in terms of how I got there. But in a sense, the strangeness of it, led me to a place that is really consonant with who I want to be in my work and as an educator. So
yeah. So what's the experience been like so far for you?
It's been great. I mean, there's challenges all over higher education right now. COVID has just been a near knockout punch to a lot of schools. And so we're all struggling to recover from that. Enrollments are down across the country. And, so that's something we're really working on. We put a lot of work into that this year, coming up with some new programs and things that we think will attract students, some new experiences. We're going to keep working on that. But I think Misericordia has a lot to offer students. It's a beautiful campus. And especially, I think this record that they have of getting people through is indicative of the approach, where we really try to understand what's going on with students and make sure that they succeed, and you could feel that across the faculty and the staff at Misericordia. They really care about students in a way that I think is pretty unusual, So it's great to be there and to be in an environment where you feel that on a day-to-day basis. You feel like you're mattering in a real special way.
Yeah. So what are maybe some of the things that you guys did, to say attract, to encourage enrollment when you said, the enrollment was down?
The first thing, of course, is your academic programs. And so I think there's some real opportunity to grow there. So we'll be coming out with some announcements this spring about some new programs that we think are very exciting, particularly connected to our business school, which I think really has some room to grow right now, especially. And so you'll be seeing some announcements about that. I don't want to...
Maybe a TikTok or two?
Yeah, no doubt there'll be TikTok. There'll be TikToks no matter what.
I love it.
But so that's really important. And so we're trying to refresh that set of offerings. We're trying to also incentivize people to come back to higher ed. A lot of people stopped out or waited to start because of COVID. And so, almost every university in the country saw a drop in enrollment over the last couple of years. And so for this semester, for example, we put up a special scholarship. If you started this spring semester, you got $5,000 off your tuition, in addition to whatever other financial aid we would typically offer you, another $5,000 off. Or if you went part-time, it was 25% off. And the idea was just to, encourage people to come back and get started and not delay anymore. And, we're back full on campus and not doing the kind of virtual instruction. I mean, we have some of that here and there. That's part of everybody's portfolio, but we're really back to the full on-campus experience, and we want people to come back and take advantage of that. So,
Awesome.
So things like that. You know?
Yeah. All right. So besides, when you're not making the viral TikToks and climbing the shelves and, everything else, what's a typical day in the life of Dan look like?
Oh my goodness.
Besides playing the guitar
is there
too.
a typical, yeah.
Yeah.
There is guitar every day. I'm a disciplined person when it comes to practicing music, so I do practice every single day. And I usually get up and first thing I do is go run.
You brought the shoes with you.
Yeah. So I have run at least a 5K, 3.1 miles, every single day for the last 10 years. I haven't missed a single day.
That's crazy. Not a single day.
It is crazy. Yes,
yeah.
It is.
I like crazy people.
No, I haven't missed a day. And I didn't start off trying to do that. I'd started a new job at Notre Dame, and I was kind of messing with my schedule, and I wasn't getting exercise in. I got to recommit myself to this. And so I kind of changed my schedule around a little bit and figured out a different time of day I could run. And I said, I'll just do it every day for 2 weeks to get myself back in the groove. Well, 2 weeks came and went, and I thought, why stop? And so the next thing, 30 days, and then 60 days, and then the streak, it takes on a life of its own, And so here we are.
10 years later. 10
years later. I just had my anniversary on January 31st, 10 years.
That's unbelievable.
So these bronze shoes came on the third anniversary. So
wow.
Kristen, my spouse, Kristen, stole a pair of my running shoes and sent them off to where you get baby shoes bronzed.
Yeah.
They were kind of confused by the whole idea,
but these are a little too big.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun. It's always a conversation topic, and different people have run with me over time to do it. My son has started a streak. Now he is past the 1 year. He's doing the same thing at 5K every day. And there's a streak running association. It's called Streak Runners International, and they keep track of everybody's
This is like
streak.
a legit thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's great. There's people far crazier than me too.
Yeah, are there?
Oh my God. I think the person with the longest streak now is over 50 years.
Oh my God.
50 years. But they only have to do a mile.
Okay, that's a little easier.
I do a 5K. But
yeah.
but
that's some serious commitment.
It is. I mean, and it is challenging. I mean, there's times, where you're sick, or I broke my toe twice during this streak, and, tape it up and run.
Wow.
You get to experience some fun pain for a while, or had a kidney stone. I was in emergency room all night, and then I got out of bed the next morning, went for a run, So,
wow, that is really cool. Congratulations on the 10 years. And
thanks.
How you just gonna keep going?
I think basically my philosophy is that I will live forever if I keep doing this, because the chances of me dying tomorrow if I ran a 5K today are very, very slim. So I figure as long as I keep doing it, there's no end in sight.
There you go.
So
that's the secret. That's
the secret. I figured it out finally.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the fountain of youth.
Crazy. Right here in NEPA, running 5Ks every day.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, all right. So tell me about the guitar. You brought this guitar. Before you were telling me you played in a band almost your entire life.
Well, yeah. So when I was in 8th grade, I think, maybe 7th grade, I started playing guitar, but I got in my first band when I was in 8th grade. And for, a bunch of 13, 14-year-olds, we weren't too bad. And we had a few gigs. We would play at the state park that was nearby in the summer, and the campers would come down, and so I played with those guys throughout high school, and I played in other bands in college and into grad school. And then it kind of died out a little bit when I had my kids, because there was something else to take up my time.
Yeah.
But I don't know, about maybe 5 years ago, the power of Facebook reconnected me with these guys from my first band, and we got together and we were having a few beers, and we thought, let's do a reunion gig. And we figured out that the 40th anniversary of our first gig was coming up in July of it was in July of 1981, and July of 2021 was coming up, and so we practiced and we played a thing, and it was just awesome. It was so much fun to be back with those guys.
All the same guys.
Same guy. Well, we added one, so 2 of them are brothers, And one of them is a real musician, got a music degree and everything. And so he was the drummer in the old band, but he's become a keyboard player, and he still drums, but he wanted to play keyboards. And so their younger brother is a drummer too, so he joined us. So there's 5 of us now, but it's just a blast. And it's, if you think about getting together with people that you knew 40 years ago, you were in a band with, it's just so much fun. And people love to hear us play too. We had a great crowd come out for that reunion gig, and we decided to keep going.
I was gonna say, what, are you on tour now?
Yes, worldwide tour.
Where can the fans catch you?
Well, we've got a few things coming up this year. We're playing. Their sister has had an accident and needs some medical help, and so we're going to play a benefit gig for her. And we also are playing my inauguration. So my inauguration as president of Misericordia was postponed because of COVID, but we're going to do it on April 22nd. I'll actually be formally inaugurated as president. But that evening, the band will be playing. The name of the band is Quest, by the way, which is the perfect name for you to come up with for your band when you're in 9th grade, or 8th grade.
So that was the same name.
Same name. We went back to it. Yep. We even found.
Why Quest?
I don't remember, honestly.
Just a cool name at the time.
It's cool, right?
Yeah, it sounds cool.
It sounds cool.
Yeah.
But we found on a piece of notebook paper in somebody's boxes, I think it might have been me, but we had drawn our logo back in 8th or 9th grade, this Quest logo, and which was funny artifact to find, but my son got a picture of it and he sent it off to a graphic artist and got it redone.
Yeah, that's cool.
So we had to stick with the name at that point.
Definitely.
So now we have stickers and tattoo. You can pick up all kinds of T-shirts. You can pick up stuff at the.
So I can get it tattooed on my shoulder tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. they're temporary tattoos.
Yeah.
But I put one on my neck when we played, because that's the rocker.
Yeah.
But but it's just been, it's just so much fun. So we're going to play April 22nd in the evening, and everybody's invited. It's a community event, so anybody from the area, come on out. It'll be fun. We're going to play in the amphitheater on campus there, assuming it doesn't rain. If it rains, we're going to retreat into the basketball gym over there. But I hope we get to play outside, because then we'll get to play where some really cool acts have played. I mean, Kansas played that amphitheater, Peter Cetera, Joan Baez.
Yeah, some legit
Three Dog Night. Yeah.
We'll be, the real deal, and Quest.
And Quest.
Reunion tour coming back.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're just like them. Has-beens out there playing music from the 80s. So, yeah.
So what is it about music for you? What do you love about it so much?
Well, it's just always been a huge part of my life growing up. And my parents are both ministers, and so it was part of our life, our church life, and we learned music through doing that. And, so it's just always been a huge part. And every time my family gets together, it's singing and, the whole bit. And so I've just always loved it. But when you do this kind of work, you need to do something else too. It's good for you. It's good for your brain to work in different ways. And I definitely feel that when the days when I have time to really sit down and focus on this for a while, that's a good day. And it makes everything else go better too, because you have a moment to let yourself operate in a different way. And it's really healthy. So, even if you just play the harmonica or the spoons, people, get out there and do it. It's good for you.
So you said you practice every day.
I do.
Every day.
Yep.
Like religiously, just like running?
Just like running. Although the streak isn't as long, but
okay.
I have a little thing on my phone where I track.
Do you?
Good. Did I run today? Yeah. Yes. Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who does keep track of that? Like you said, like that, there's that organization that it's a thing, it's like a national thing, right?
Yeah.
So what do you got to do? Log it in to prove that
you have to keep a log, and you have to sign an affidavit that you're, being honest.
Yeah.
But it's a very honorable community. The running community really is, and so, but and if they want, they can ask you to send in your logs for inspection, to make sure you're really doing it.
For inspection.
So, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
In case anyone's accused of cheating the system.
Yes.
Wow.
It has happened.
Okay. So it's like a real thing.
They've been accused. I don't know if anybody ever proved it, because it's not that hard to fake a running log. But
yeah, right.
But
right.
But mostly I think people are just very respectful of that. And they, after you do it for a while, you realize what a commitment it takes to really do it. And so, there's a certain level of honoring that stick-to-itiveness.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, I used to be a runner myself, so I can appreciate the dedication.
Yeah.
So that's heck of a
so
run.
You're not a runner now?
Dude, look at me. Do I look like a runner? Shh. Maybe I'll start running with you.
Runners don't look like anything, people. So don't
like
ever accept that.
Yeah, I'm probably like 30 pounds heavier than I was when I was in high school. So
yeah, but you should get back out there. It's so good for you. You want to come with me?
I might have to now.
Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Meet me at my house.
Oh my God.
We'll head out.
Oh my God.
Do a nice 10K.
I need to ease into it.
Well, that's good advice. Yes, you don't overdo it on the first day, because then you won't do the second day, right?
I won't be showing back up for day 2 on campus.
That's right.
So academically, and your role, as a president, what does that look like?
Well, you're sort of responsible for every facet of what goes on at the university. And so, of course, I don't know every detail about what everybody's doing, but everything from what we offer academically to the finances of the university, deciding what building we might build next or renovate, just every little component, getting ready for the accreditation of all of our different programs to make sure we're up to snuff and we're doing things the best way we possibly can, raising money. I mean, I went out on something like 120 donor visits or something since I've been here. That's really important for a private school. We live on tuition, and the students can't always afford those tuition bills. And so, and we have some tremendous donors that support Misericordia. We just had a donor recognition event yesterday, and we had donors come in and meet the students that they'd provided scholarships for. It's just absolutely heartwarming to see that. But that's a big part of the job too, is raising money for the different things that the university needs to do. So it's a busy life. Your attention is drawn in many, many directions, but it's a good thing to do. And I feel a great deal of satisfaction from being able to use my life to support a place like Misericordia that's doing such great things for students. So,
yeah. What excites you the most about the school?
Well, I think there's just so much growth potential right now. And, we're coming out of COVID, and it's a really important moment for many schools. But I think, we're putting together our next strategic plan right now, which we'll have done by the end of this semester. And it's just going to sort of lay out a map of new things that we want to do, how we want to grow, what new disciplines that we want to develop at Misericordia. That stuff is really exciting. You bring new students and new faculty in to do those things. And if you do it in the right way and it complements what's going on, it grows from what's already going on. It can be really exciting for everybody, and it just it's a new chapter. It's a new time to advance and to make a difference.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, any challenges you think you'll face, or any challenges you're facing now? Like what's the word on the street up there?
Yeah. Well, this is a song across all of higher ed, especially private higher ed right now, is that the cost of education is really high, and it's getting more difficult for people. Finances are difficult for private schools because we have to provide a lot of scholarship for people in order for them to come, and we don't always have backing for that scholarship. We're just discounting essentially for some folks, and that's really challenging. I mean, that is probably the number one concern right now, because the number of students that are available in the United States that are graduating from high school is dropping, and so we have to find other markets to serve. Students who might be non-traditional age, and they've got part of their college done, but they haven't completed their degree. How do we get them to come back and be a part? How do we provide programs? Maybe they're not full degrees, but they're certificate programs. They're going to help people forward with their career. How do we get to that market? How do we get to the market of people who they've got a bachelor's, but the next thing they need is a master's degree to move on? So how can we develop things that are going to allow us to get to those markets while we're still will Misericordia always be a place very much focused on that undergraduate experience, but we need to build other things around that in order to be financially healthy. So that's an important challenge for us and lots of schools like us. We're not by any stretch alone in that that challenge and that concern. So
yeah, well, I think one of the most important questions I was stalking your TikTok. This I keep going back to this TikTok thing. I'm like obsessed with it. So. Do you have like really big, tall, like monitors in your office?
I do. Well, they're not. They look bigger than they are.
Okay.
But they're regular monitors. But I just
they're like, you turned them
on their side, And I discovered years ago that that just makes more sense, at least for the work I do.
Okay.
You have your list of email, and that's the way a piece of paper is.
Okay, yeah, long, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
portrait, not
I
landscape.
see where
right?
this is going.
Yeah, and so I started doing it with two quite a while ago, and then I was watching TV and I saw somebody, how experts have to sit in front of something, a bookcase or test tubes or something to look like this person was sitting in front of 3 monitors turned like that, and I want that.
I got to be that guy.
I got to have that. I got to have that. So I got another one, and it turns out, it's really cheap to do now. The monitors cost $100. Any old laptop can support 6 or 7 monitors now, and so you just plug them in. It even knows that you turned them, and you're off and running, and it's just a much more productive way to work.
Okay. But the real question was, you have like 200 folders.
I
need to know what's in all those folders.
It's a bad habit. I just throw everything on my desktop. I'm like, I'll file that later.
Make a new folder.
Yeah.
So just like the running every day and the guitar playing every day, you're just making a new folder.
That's not a goal of mine,
yeah.
but it seems to happen though. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's
the people of TikTok really want to know what's in those folders.
Okay, well maybe we open a few of them up. So I may be surprised what's in there. I don't know.
Yeah. So all right. So what about do you have like any personal goals yourself? Like what when you came to Misericordia, like what did you say to yourself? Like, hey, I really want to do XYZ.
I was at a stage in my career where I sort of climbed through the administrative ranks, and I'd done that kind of career achievement stuff for quite a while, and I felt satisfied by that. And so I really wanted the next phase of my life to be something where I thought I was really making a difference, and that it was really a mission-driven kind of existence. That's what I wanted to do. And I really, when I was looking for presidencies, I kind of sorted them like, do they have a decent idea about themselves and what they're trying to accomplish? Do they have a mission that's consonant with who I am and what I want to do? And a lot of places, the mission is kind of window dressing. It's just like, this is what we say we're about, but that's just something we wave around while we're doing other stuff behind the scenes, And I didn't want to be in a place like that. I want to be a place that really cared about what it was doing. And so, and I'm telling you, there were a lot of presidencies open that year, and I had them sorted in,
multiple monitors.
Yes. I don't want the bad monitor or the good monitor.
Yeah.
And I'm not only, there were a lot fewer on the good monitor than the bad one, because
you did a lot of research in this.
I did, because I just didn't want to make a mistake and go to a place that turned, it seemed good on the surface, but then once you got there, that wasn't what they were really about. I didn't want that. And so I wanted to make sure. And, Misericordia, when I asked people going through the interview process, I think I was driving people crazy, because I was like, okay, you say your mission is this, 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 and this. Tell me how you actually see that operating in your day-to-day work. I want to hear a story, and they had great stories here. They really did. And people know what the mission of Misericordia is. If you go to most universities and you stop somebody in the quad and you said, what's the mission of this university? They would probably say, I don't know. Yeah. Or they might say, to be a good university. That's probably the best you could get, right? But that's not the case at Misericordia. People have a much better sense of what we're trying to do, what we're trying to produce, what kind of students we're trying to form here with the mission that we get from the Sisters of Mercy, and that sort of legacy and history orientation that they brought to the school. And I saw that in so many ways, and I have since I got here. I'm very pleased to say that I picked well.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So sorry. So you use the words like your mission aligns with their mission. Kind of like what is or was your mission?
Yeah. Well, I want to I want to educate people in a way that they're going to be successful in life, but to do good, right? So it's not just to make money, for example, but to do that in a way that makes society a better place, that makes the people around them better, and makes them real contributors that makes them real contributors to the well-being of our communities and so forth. At Notre Dame, they had this great slogan in the business school, because they wanted to make sure students didn't think it was just about making money. They said, ask more of business. That was their slogan. And I loved that because it invited everybody to do that, to say, what should business do besides make money? It should make money. Yes, absolutely. But it should do more than that. And it should be a citizen of its community in these really important, positive ways, and that's something that students need to think about when they're in the formative process, and not just something that comes later on after they've made a lot of money and they say, oh yeah, I want to be a philanthropist. No, it should be part of their ongoing participation. And so it's that kind of orientation that I want to bring to our training and our education of students, so that they're thinking about that kind of holistic existence that really leads people to, in the end, looking back and saying, I lived a good life. I lived a valuable life. I mattered. That's what people really want in the end. Yeah.
Yeah. So how does one do that? Like how do you, say, either the university or you personally, like how do you, how could you get that message, I'd say through to the students, because they're young, like I'm trying to think back to like when I was like a college student, like how do you convey that message to, the students to, besides, hey, you're just going to get this degree and you're going to go out and get a job and you're going to make some money, and then what? You know
Right.
what I
Well,
mean?
so it really has to be woven into the experience all the way along, because, in every class you're taking, there needs to be thinking about the ethical issues that are connected with what you're learning to do. And to, if you're a healthcare provider, like how do you treat your patients and what are they experiencing? And so that has to be part of the, sort of, like I said, woven in to the training. There's also, we have things in our core curriculum that that's the part of the curriculum that everybody has to take, that are specifically designed to ask students to think about that kind of stuff and to challenge them to look at it in new ways and to maybe develop a new way of thinking about it that they weren't before. And so, there's a real intentional design in how we put together our training and our curriculum to make sure that those things are not just a side issue, but that they're woven into what we're doing.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not just there, just by the book, you're really
right.
encouraging the students to really think outside the box and really question why they're doing what they're doing.
And that comes from other kinds of activities and things that we want students to do, and they want to do too, in terms of service and so forth, and different kinds of student activities that we put on campus. So, we're trying to, produce a whole experience over that period of time that they're with us, where they're getting those challenges from different directions and they're able to reflect on them from different directions. I mean, when I look back at my own undergraduate years, the times when that happened to me are the ones that I think were the most important and that have stuck with me and have really mattered as we all continue to develop through our lives. But there's some of these touchstone moments where they really may just start to think about things in a deeper, thicker, more connected way. And those ones are, for many of us, I mean, if you ask most people, what was the most important experience you had in your education as an undergraduate? They'll tell you something like that was the thing that was most important. I'm always asking CEOs and people that have, made it big in the world, that kind of question. What was the most important experience? And they almost always say something like that, almost always without fail, that those are the things that were most important, not only in forming them as a person, but making them successful in the other things that we think are markers of success, getting to the top of a corporation or, making money. They did well because of those kinds of experiences when they were students.
Yeah. So what is it for you? Like, what's the secret to your success?
Well, I mean, there's a number of things, and there's a lot of people that have had a powerful influence on me, going back to my parents and, teachers I had even in high school and before. So, I hate to bring any particular one out because there's so many of them. They're so important to me in different ways. But, I think some of them also taught me the importance of working persistently, and this kind of crazy thing I do with the running and the practicing the guitar every day, learning how to be persistent and continuing to do things, even if each one isn't some monumental thing. I ran 3 miles today. That's not such a big deal, but running 3 miles every day and with that kind of persistency and drive, you end up. So I used to give a new faculty workshop at Notre Dame for the new faculty coming in, and the basic message was, be a chipper, not a binger. And that was the kind of slogan. And the idea was to work every day on something, a small chunk, but a meaningful chunk every single day. And that adds up in a way that you can't even imagine. You know, if you just write 2 pages a day, 2 good pages a day, you'll write 500, even if you don't do it on the weekends, you know, you'll write 500 pages in a year. And in my field, that's like 10 papers in 1 year. That's what you need to get tenure at, you know, at Notre Dame in sociology. That's what you would have needed. And I got it done in 1 year because I wrote 2 pages a day. And so showing people the power of that kind of consistency and persistence, and I already used this term, but it's my dad's term, stick-to-itiveness, is a real key to being successful in just about anything that you do. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The consistency, the dedication, it just becomes it becomes more of a habit. You know?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see it add up. I mean, I always tell people to track their work, you know, because you know, it's nothing like, you know, looking back, you know, like, oh, I'm tired, I don't want to do it today. And then you look at your record and where it's taken you because you did it every day, and then you do it again. Right.
Yeah.
So
awesome. So how about the future of education, higher education? How do you see the future of higher education?
Well, you know, one hates to predict the future, but you know, we are in a time of change and trying to understand ourselves differently. COVID has been a massive disruption in a negative way. It's been a massive disruption. Mostly it's been a negative impact on the industry, but we've learned things from it too. And one thing, just about every university has built better muscle on doing online learning. Now, that doesn't mean we should all start doing online learning all the time, but we need to do some of it. And when we do it, we need to do it well, because it's not easy to do it well. I taught online during the pandemic, and it was difficult, you know, and I think my class was good. It was fine and everything, but it was not stellar. It wasn't the way I normally teach. And, you know, and so, you know, we need to do that well. We've learned how to do it better as a result of COVID. And I think that might help us extend access to higher education to people who just can't come to our campus, or they can't come to our campus for 4 years and sit there and do a degree. So that might be, that's part of our future is reaching out more with online methods. I think we also need to, as I mentioned earlier, just talking about the different markets that we need to be thinking about as our, you know, our sort of typical traditional primary market is getting smaller. We need to think about where else in the world are people needing higher education? Where can we help? And how do we get to those people? And it's part-time things, it's certificate programs, it's master's degrees and things that aren't necessarily the same as a big, you know, 4-year bachelor's degree, you know. So we might need to reach out more internationally. We might need to reach more out to rural areas. And so there's a lot that we could do. And that's something that we need to get more creative about as we're going forward. The 4-year model is not going to disappear. It's a powerful thing. It's been around forever. And so it's still going to be with us, and it's going to be a very important experience for a lot of students. In fact, I think the pandemic revealed in many ways that people have a real hunger to be on campus and to have that experience. So that's going to continue to be an important part. But I think there's other things that we need to add on and work with the resources we have to meet those needs as well.
Yeah. Cool. All right, we'll go on. I know I keep bringing up this TikTok thing, but I'm just, like I said,
okay.
like I said earlier, I'm just really impressed with your involvement on social media, and I think most people of your role in the world wouldn't be as involved. Like, why for you? Like, what value? Like, what's the value that do you see in social media? And like, why are you so committed to engaging that way?
Well, I because that's where people are, right? You got to go meet people where they are, and
I think a lot of people don't understand that, and you do.
No,
so
I don't understand why they don't understand that.
Right, I know, yeah. That's why I'm asking. So like somebody like you and I can kind of talk about this, so people listening and watching can kind of understand, especially from your perspective.
It is hard for people my age. I'm so old. But it is hard because we did not grow up with this stuff. You know, I mean, there's all these funny, memes around about Gen Xers, and I squeaked in with the Gen Xers instead of the Boomers just barely. But the things that we had growing up, like you'd hang up the phone by actually putting it on a hook on the wall, and people are like, what is that? And so we didn't grow up with this kind of access to other people through electronic means. And for us, that's not natural. It feels very mediated, right? There's something in between us and the other person. But young people who are, my kids are 25 and 24, for them, that's just as real. That feels real to them. And they have had that since they were, 12 or 11 or something, when they got their first, when I broke down the whining made me cave in and,
get me a phone.
But it's just so real to them. And that's not something that we appreciate enough. And that's why I think that we could do so much better if we really grabbed onto that and said, how do we use this to connect with people? Because everybody is walking around with this phone in their hand all the time. And so if I want to get to you, how do I get to you? I got to get through that little box somehow.
You got to show up on that phone.
That's right. Yeah. You got to show up. Right. That's exactly right. And so I think that, it's a lot of work though, to understand that and to figure out how to do it. I mean, TikTok has been a wild experiment for me. I mean, I don't know how many videos I have up there now, 50 or 60 probably, I don't know. And every single one of them was some kind of experiment. Well, let's try this. Well, let's try this and see what happens, because we don't know how the thing works. I don't know if most people, even the people who think they know how TikTok works.
It's a mystery. The whole thing's a mystery.
It is. They want it to be a mystery, right? But we have to keep working at that, and we have to be willing to commit to that if we want to connect with people. That's where they are. And so how do you get there? You got to go through that phone, and it's always changing. Like I said earlier, once upon a time, Facebook was it. Well, Facebook's for old people now, that's over. Like Snapchat's totally died out, I think. Nobody talks about Snapchat anymore. Now it's Instagram and TikTok, right? And Twitter is even, it's like...
Yeah, they're kind of on the side.
Yeah, it's kind of for older, not old people, but older. These things age quickly. And I don't know what's coming around the corner, what's after TikTok. Anybody out there knows?
Yeah,
tell me.
Yeah.
But there'll come a time when it's not TikTok anymore, and we'll have to invest in learning a new way of doing this. But that's essential. I mean, communication is a tough thing, no matter what. You can never communicate enough. People always say that. But now it's not just get something in the newspaper and you're good. That's not remotely adequate. And any one of these things is not enough. So, my handle on TikTok is at Prez, P-R-E-S, Dan Myers, D-A-N-M-Y-E-R-S, M-U. So that's the whole thing. And I have the same handle on Twitter and on Instagram and so on. So it's easier for people to find me. I will be using that handle on whatever the next thing is too. And that's just what you got to do.
Yeah, you got to adapt.
Yeah,
you got to go where the attention is.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think a lot of people give there's people who I'll say talk very negatively about social media.
Sure.
And it's just. I don't understand that, I don't get that.
I mean, there are things that are negative about it, and there are negative things that happen on social media, but there are positive things too, and there are also negative things that happen on any kind of media, right? And so, it's the important thing is to try to understand that and try to figure out how to work with it to make it the best thing it can be for what you're trying to do. But I'm offended constantly. I'm flipping through the TikTok, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake. But then I'll see something just so incredibly heartwarming and just, it restores my faith in humanity,
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
So, it's a different version of the same thing that we encounter in life. The people that are making the negative and the positive TikToks, they're the same people that are around us, and so it's a different way of expressing those things. And it's just the reality that this is how people are engaging with each other, and we need to be in that space.
Yeah, 100%. All right. So besides following you on TikTok. What would you say? What message would you have for either existing students at the school or maybe some incoming students or students younger students that are just looking to go to college?
Yeah, well, it is interesting because I have on my TikTok a series of where people love to give advice to college students on TikTok. And some of it's okay, some of it's good, and some of it's terrible. And so
you've been remaking these, right? I think I've seen some.
Yeah, so you pull up a little bit of the advice. You can do these things called stitching or duetting, where you're riffing off of somebody else's TikTok. And so I'll rate them, and I give them like 8 out of 10 or 5 out of 10. Ooh, that was really bad. 3 out of 10. And then I'll, have some commentary. And so I'm actually taking that on real directly. When we get into the summer and it's time for students to start coming to college for the first time, I'll do a series of my own advice pieces.
All right. So you're working on that.
I'm working on that because I just think, anything like this, there's a lot of misinformation out there. And so you gotta, try to head some of that off at the pass, and some of the advice people give is just kind of humorously bad. Like they'll say, gotta have bed risers. If you don't have bed risers, your existence is just going to be hell on wheels at your school. I'm like, well, bed risers are nice, but I don't think the whole college experience is going to collapse because you don't have bed risers.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's not going to make or break.
No, right?
Yeah,
and then other things like people have, textbooks are really expensive, and so there's a kind of standard piece. Don't buy your textbooks. It's like, why shouldn't you buy your textbook? And they'll say, you'll never even open them. And I object strenuously to this one. And there's cheaper ways of getting textbooks than going and buying a brand new one at the bookstore. And that's fine, but get the material and open your textbook. It'll be a good thing. The professor wants you to read that. Maybe you should read it. It might help you do better.
Don't use it as a bed riser.
No, right. Well, next semester you can use it for that. But
exactly.
No. Yeah, but no, and there's ways of getting electronic books. I don't want people to spend more than they have to on textbooks, and they're ridiculously expensive. I'm an author of a textbook actually, and we used to fight tooth and nail with the publishing company about the price because they're always raising it, and it made us so mad because it got so high we wouldn't assign it. The authors of the book would not assign it to our own students because it was too expensive. It was ridiculous, and we weren't going to gouge our students like that. But it's just a racket, the textbooks. And so, but there's other ways of getting it. You can get a used book you can share with a friend. Professors often will put them on reserve in the library. You don't have to buy them at all. You just go in and do your reading and, off you go. And there's lots of ways of getting them cheaper or in a lot of cases free, and so, and that be legal, folks. But I'm not advising you to step outside the law. So, but
legal disclaimer.
So there's things like that too that just need to be confronted, and people need to be informed in different ways about how to go about them.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Anything new coming up on campus that we can look out for?
Well, there's all kinds of new stuff coming up, but I don't blow all my.
Okay, all right, we gotta keep some of them
big announcements.
All right, so, but besides the Quest reunion tour,
Quest is coming, but there's we will be releasing some new majors this year. I'm very excited about that. We are looking at some new things with our athletics in terms of what sports and starting some club sports and having more opportunities for students to participate in intramurals and things like that. We are trying to build a dome facility so that we have more space for these kinds of. There's so much athletics at Misericordia, you may not know, but almost half our student body comes in on a varsity sports team. So we need more facilities for that. We're renovating the Payne building, which is Payne Printery up near our campus. We bought that, and that's going to be renovated as new space for our OT, occupational therapy, and physical therapy programs, which will be a huge boost for them. Really excited about that. And that's going to open up some more space for our nursing and our speech pathology programs in the building where OT and PT are now. So there's a lot of stuff like that happening on the academic side as well. So
got a lot going on.
There's a ton going on. I can barely keep up with all of it.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic. And I love to feel that energy, that forward drive. we're going to see a lot of that in the next few years at Misericordia. It's a great opportunity for us to grow right now, and we're getting great support from donors and from the community. It's wonderful to be a part of a place that understands how important the university is and really wants to support it. I love that feel when I go out and talk to folks. It's been great.
Yeah. So. How about how has been your time here living in NEPA? Have you had some pizzas yet? Like, what's I'm sure you've probably gotten that question a lot, right?
I have. Well, I kind of made a mistake early on. We were having a Zoom town hall with the staff, and I knew that there was a pizza thing around here. I didn't really know what the deal was. This is very
like
new.
How serious it is.
This is like my first week. Yeah, I didn't realize that. And I said, "What's the best?" Wrong phrasing of the question. What's the best pizza around here? Oh my! The chat just blew up, and everybody they're arguing with each other and nominating different ones. And so we had a pizza poll that Jim Roberts ran, and we took the top 10, and then I've been going around. And
so you're on a pizza tour too?
Yes, I've been visiting all these different places. We still have a few more left. We've done a few, but we've done 6 or 7, I think.
Cool. Yeah, you can't go wrong. I don't think there's a bad pizza around here. Yeah. So.
I love pizza, so it's kind of dangerous actually. Eating that much pizza.
Well, it's all right. Just run another 5K.
That's right. Well, that is the best part of the running streak, is that it allows me to eat things I love, like hot wings and barbecue and pizza. So,
all right. How can our listeners connect with you and the university online?
Well, of course, I already said my TikTok. So at Pres Dan Myers MU. Go there. And Misericordia has one too, Misericordia U, and just look for that. But our webpage, misericordia.edu, there's all kinds of great stuff there. And of course, we have Instagram and Facebook. And if you're an alum or you're someone of that advanced age, you probably want to go to Facebook, but
or if you want to get crazy,
go to TikTok. And go see the TikTok. It's a lot of fun. There's hardly any of them that are actually serious, but we just try to have some fun and show people what our personality is on TikTok. And the same thing with the university account. We try to have a lot of fun with it. We got a whole series going on there where I kind of change places with someone on campus, like the first one that did really well we had with a football player. So he's in my office being the president, and then I go down and work out and hurt myself and stuff. And then
that's funny.
We're doing a whole series of those, and those, it's just kind of, it shows off our campus in a really fun way, and so go see that stuff. You'll get drawn into other things too.
Yeah.
So,
and come see Quest on April 22nd.
Yeah. Please do.
Reunion tour.
Yeah. Tour once a year.
Yeah. Well, no, Cole, this has been great. I appreciate you taking the time today to come in. It's been fun.
Absolutely, my pleasure. This has been a blast, and hope to do some more. We'll send some more people to you.
Yeah. Please do. Yeah.
There's lots of fun stuff to talk about up there.
100%. So. Yeah. So again, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. And one of these days I'll have to maybe join you on a run if I can throw my running shoes back on.
I'm gonna start bugging you.
I know.
Yeah, you're gonna get text from me at 6 a.m. You ready to go, buddy?
All right, Dr. Dan Myers, Misericordia University, on the Stacks podcast in the Blue Door Studio. Thanks for joining me.
My pleasure.